And this is Country Roads, Take Us to the Movies. Episode number, we don't know. Because, let's be honest, we really don't know. This is a very special episode. A very, very special one. Instead of going to see a new release, as we typically do, we're going to see the re-release of 2001, A Space Odyssey, a 1968 Stanley Kubrick science fiction masterpiece. One of the few films I am willing to give a 10 to.
What the heck?
There's also a license plate in front of us that says Aryan 25.
Alright, we found some Nazis.
There we go! We're going to get to space and some Nazis!
Wow.
Whoa.
I have to imagine that's like their name or something, right? Aryan, either that or they're just very proud of...
I kind of wish we were going to see Black Klansman
right
now. That would be the perfect movie for this.
That was the last episode, maybe. Who knows what order these go up in.
Well, our first Reformed one is being uploaded as we speak. It should finish. It's actually uploading really fast, so it should be finished by the time we get to the theater.
I might as well upload the first part of that on SoundCloud and then see what happens for us having more room.
Yeah.
Because I still haven't uploaded because it's just... We don't have a room for both parts.
Yeah.
So it's like, but might as well get it up there.
As soon as we can get a logo made, I want to make us a Facebook and YouTube.
I actually was thinking about a logo today. It's a semi-easy thing I could do in Photoshop.
Yeah. At least get a placeholder logo for something. As far as what we've been putting on the YouTube videos for versions of these, I've been putting the posters of the movies. Because I don't know. It's,
it's free real estate.
The Sicario 2 has 40 views.
Oh boy.
People watch about 20 minutes in and then stop.
I'm happy they even did that. So thank you for...
If you're one of those 40 people, then thank you for listening for 20 minutes. And it's probably about time for you to leave now on this
Subscribe to us on Patreon. We're starting a Patreon. No, we're not. Just kidding.
If we ever... We'll start a Patreon if we ever get 200 subscribers.
Yeah. If people actually start listening or watching, then yes.
You are about to lose... This is the first Stanley Kubrick film you're going to have seen, right?
Did he do Full Metal Jacket?
No, yep. Okay, that's...
Yeah,
he did Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, that's the only one I've seen.
You've seen... then he did The Shining. You haven't seen that one, though.
No. And disappointingly, I already know a lot of what happens in that movie. I still really want to watch it, but
see,
it's a little disappointing that I know a lot of
these movies are old, and I know a lot, but the good thing about Stanley Kubrick movies is they're such an experience that even if you know the whole plot, there's still nothing like actually seeing it.
Yeah.
And this is probably my favorite film he's done is 2001.
Have you seen 2010?
We don't talk about that. Yeah, 2010 is... It's not a Stanley Kubrick movie.
And then 2049?
That's a good sequel.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, the last movie I saw on IMAX was Blade Runner 2049, and I really hope at some point they re-release that in IMAX, since it did so poorly the first time. Now that it's got kind of like the first movie, now that like it's done really well critically and has kind of a cult following, maybe they'll re-release it. Because I just like it's hopeful. It's like wishful thinking, but I just really want to see that movie again in IMAX.
I still want to see a Blade Runner one. I would love to get to see the original in theaters. There's a list of movies that I would love, like that have been out for a long time that I didn't get to see in theaters or I wasn't born at the time. That I would love to see. The original Jurassic Park, which I got to see for its 20th anniversary release back in 2013. This one, and Citizen Kane is one I would love to see. The first two Lord of the Rings movies. And first Blade Runner, and that's probably it.
See, that's what they need to do, is just remaster the first Blade Runner for IMAX, and then show it in 2049 at the same time. That would be great.
I'd do a double feature. I would.
Gosh, that'd be so long.
No, it'd be really long, but I would sit through it. You know how they do like the big Star Wars marathons for all the movies?
Yeah.
I would go see if they sat down and they had all the Lord of the Rings extended editions in theaters,
Oh, man.
back to back. I would sit through it. You just wear some Depends and just go in.
That's where I got candy for this one because I knew this is one to strap in. It's gonna be a long ride.
It's not
Let's get a
going to be
snack.
as long as you think. It goes by really
Yeah.
fast.
Well, I know the first part of it is kind of boring.
It's boring in the way Blade Runner is boring. As
Yeah.
in, I don't think it's boring. I think it's slow. There's a difference. But some
Yeah.
people find slow boring because they want the Fast and the Furious or their idea of a great like sci-fi movie is something like The Quiet Place or.
Because I really want the monkeys at the beginning to start talking, and then they're going to start an uprising, and one of them's named Caesar, and he's like, apes together, strong. We go to space.
One day we're going to do like a live stream on Twitch or something or commentaries. We're going to do something where I'm going to have you sit down and we're going to watch, not all at one time, though I have done that, but we're going to watch all the original Planet of the Apes
Yeah,
movies.
that would be a fun time.
You'll like the first one because it's really good.
Yeah.
The second one is bad. You'll enjoy the next like 2 to 3 because they're what the last trilogy were remakes of. So it's the same ideas. No.
Which is the one with Mark Wahlberg?
That's the Planet of the Apes remake from 2001, directed by Tim Burton. I've never seen that one. That's the only Planet of the Apes movie I haven't seen.
I just like the idea of Mark Wahlberg being in a Planet of the Apes movie and it probably being bad.
No, it's really bad.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time.
Everyone generally considers it bad. No, here's how bad it was. It was a reboot of the franchise. It was so bad it immediately killed that, and they had to wait a decade to reboot it again.
With James Franco.
Better than Mark Wahlberg. At least he breathes through his
Who
nose.
was it that directed the first? Who directed Rise of the Planet of the Apes? Because I forget. Because Matt Ryan did it from then on. From
Matt
Dawn.
Reeves.
Or Matt Reeves, not from Matt Ryan. Who's Matt Ryan?
I don't know.
Matt Reeves, yeah.
um,
He's doing the Batman movie, isn't he?
he's still attached to it,
Yeah.
but whether that movie's actually going to happen, because Henry Cavill just left DCU.
Really?
The guy that plays Superman
Wow.
just exited, and it's been rumored for a while that Ben Affleck's on his way out. So.
Well, Ben Affleck's on his way out. Literally, did you hear about? He like went into rehab again. Apparently had a bad drug problem there, and is in rehab. Best wishes, Ben, for a speedy recovery.
We like you. You've done a couple good movies.
We like your brother more, if we're being honest.
Rupert Wyatt.
Rupert Wyatt.
Yeah, I like Casey Affleck a little more. Ben's alright. Like, I used to hate Ben because 2000s Ben Affleck is one of the worst things ever. He was in a movie called Geely, I think it is. It's considered one of the worst movies ever made. It's he and Jennifer Lopez. And it's just awful.
Well, I don't really like Ben Affleck because I haven't really seen any of his good movies. I haven't seen like Gone Girl and like Good Will Hunting. He was in that, right?
Yeah, those are two.
And, I haven't seen Argo.
Yeah. The Town.
The Town. I haven't seen that.
Oh, since you love Casey Affleck, so Ben Affleck's the first movie Ben Affleck directed, Gone Baby Gone.
Gone Baby Gone.
He's not in it. He doesn't star in it, but Casey does.
I saw that was on Netflix.
Yeah, it just got added. That's of all the movies he's directed, that's my favorite one so far.
Yeah. Aren't both Ben Affleck and Casey Affleck in the like Western Jesse James movie? I forget the name of it. The assassination of
Jesse James by the Coward something or other.
Yeah.
It's got Brad Pitt as Jesse James.
Are they both in it?
I don't think Ben
one
Affleck's
of them.
in it.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure just
I knew Casey, but I was thinking both of them were in it, and it would be funny if Ben Affleck was like Jesse James.
That would be too much money to spend on that movie since I already had Brad Pitt.
Speaking of too much money to spend on movies, my mom was watching The Martian the other day on it was on TV, and just like every time I see that, I'm like, the cast is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I want to know how much money they spent on that movie, because it's like so many huge people in such small roles, like Sean Bean, Chiwetel Ejiofor, however you say his name.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Donald Glover. Granted, Donald Glover wasn't huge then.
He was pretty big.
Mackenzie
Oh.
Davis, Jessica Chastain, Michael Pena, what's her face, Kate Mara. It's like just everyone in that movie's a huge actor. Alex Wong.
Kristen Wiig. She's the PR lady.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean she's fairly.
Yeah. That's just a weird movie.
Speaking of Chiwetel Ejiofor, he was in Serenity. Remember the
best movie
continuation of Firefly, which Fox hasn't said that if Joss Whedon wants to come back and reboot it, they'll 100% do a Firefly reboot if Joss Whedon will come back and do it. So Joss Whedon, if you somehow hear his podcast, don't do it. It's a trap. You've got better things to do.
Also, I wouldn't ever want a reboot. I want more Nathan Fillion.
Reboot, continuation, something.
Okay.
Like something. They want to do Firefly, more Firefly. I think Firefly was left where it should be.
Yeah. Well, it's good because it never got a chance to be bad. You know? Like, the first season's like one of the best first seasons of television ever. Granted, it never got a second season. And Serenity is like not only just a really great movie on its own, but like a really great finale to the show.
How the Reavers clean their spikes.
Serenity's such a good movie.
The wash.
Except for that part. Serenity is such a good movie.
What about Shepherd Book? What about that part?
His death got way more like of an emotional moment, a send off, than Wash did. Wash is just dead, and it's okay. Let's keep going.
I like Washers because it's so sudden.
Yeah.
But they don't have a choice. Like they can't. They have to keep going.
Yeah, it works. It just Shepherd Book didn't bother me because like it was a moment. It was a good moment, and you kind of see it coming. Because he's living this peaceful life now.
Yeah, you didn't see Washers. You're just like,
oh
fuck, Alan Tudyk, no!
No. And thus went his career as well. I mean, he's doing fine, but I mean, he hasn't done anything as big as
Firefly wasn't that big.
Yeah, it wasn't big at the
canceled.
time. But that's what his show was about. That he made Comic Men or whatever. Con Men, because it was like it's kind of a parody of his actual life because he was a star in this sci-fi show that got canceled after one season, and from then on his career kind of didn't go very far.
I mean, he's like the new go-to guy
he's big
in
now,
Disney.
Though. He's had a resurgence, yeah.
He's in all the Disney movies. He's becoming a big mocap guy too.
Yeah.
Like he's starting to become like the next Andy Serkis.
I hope his career definitely has a big resurgence.
I think he should just join Imaginarium at those studios. Like he'd do well because he's really good at the mocap.
Him and Andy Serkis making movies together, that'd be great.
I mean, he was the best part of Rogue One.
Yep.
It was him.
My Twitter handle is a joke about K2SO.
K2 Kelso.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yup.
Whoa.
So how are you looking forward to this?
I am. It was funny. I went on YouTube last night, and in my recommended was the trailer for the 2001: A Space Odyssey IMAX thing. And I watched it, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting in it now.
You'll get to finally see what Christopher Nolan was aiming for when he made Interstellar, and you'll maybe understand a little more of my frustration with Interstellar. Like, I didn't think we were going to get it, because I knew they were releasing it. I've been looking it up every so often. Now, I saw someone post on a Facebook group that they were going to go see it this weekend. I was like, well, I'll look it up. We won't have anything in our area.
Yeah.
I looked it up, and we did. And I got, like, a rush of adrenaline when I saw that, because I was, like, half asleep. It was like a jolt of coffee or something. And I was
Speaking of jolt of coffee, I'm drinking Starbucks. This podcast is brought to you by No, it's not.
I don't want Starbucks to sponsor this. I hate them.
I'm drinking a grande iced caramel macchiato.
Because
the drink of white girls and Kelson.
He's like a college girl.
At least I'm not drinking a pumpkin spice.
Oh my god.
So there is that. I don't think we start that until this week.
There's some things you can do with pumpkin spice. Make a pumpkin spice latte and put some of the dark cocoa powder in it. it like in the milk
Yeah.
and steam it. It's actually not bad. Also, I had a special frappuccino I used to make. It was a Halloween one. I made a pumpkin spice. I usually made it in a venti cup just as 2 talls.
Yeah.
That size. I'd make a tall of pumpkin spice, pour it down, and then the dark chocolate one, pour it on top, orange and black, Halloween.
Oh, there you go. I don't hate pumpkin spice, but like really the only pumpkin flavored thing I really like care to eat or consume at all is just pumpkin pie. I don't need pumpkin flavored everything, so
I'll drink
yeah.
pumpkin ale. I'm pulling out a peanut butter sandwich for those listening. I just have a half a peanut butter sandwich.
He just pulled it for, since this is an audio podcast, he just pulled it out of his pocket. Just a peanut butter sandwich he just pulled right out of his pocket. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, sort of. It was in the middle console of my car.
Also, last podcast we talked about, I don't know if that was actually in the podcast or in our conversation before we started recording. About movie candy. Good movie candy.
No, we were recording.
Okay, we're recording. And Parker mentioned that his favorite movie candy, the holy grail of movie candy, is Bunch of Crunch. And we actually both bought Bunch of Crunch without consulting each other. So there's a lot of Bunch of Crunch going to be happening. I bought like a $2 bag of it because that was all they had.
The only reason I think it is I remember going to the theater when I was a little kid. I don't remember what we saw, but all I got was Bunch of Crunch. It's one of those weird memories that it sticks in your head really vivid, but for no reason. So anytime I get candy at the movies, I want Bunch of Crunch. But I won't buy it at the movies because it's like $30.
Yeah.
I can get that dollar at the dollar store. Got a dollar? A dollar for beer? Portlandia joke. I watch a lot of Portlandia.
I haven't seen that show.
I
probably should.
It's a good show.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's great, and it'd be good for you because you like something light,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't even really have a continuity. Like it's all made up of skits, and there's a lot of recurring characters, but no recurring stories or anything. So you can just pick up anywhere, watch any episode.
Yeah. I think I might start watching BoJack Horseman soon because I know you've recommended that a lot. Another friend of mine just recommended I would watch it, and like I've wanted to watch it for a long time, and I've been needing like a short. Light show to watch, so.
If you want a light show, don't watch BoJack.
Well, yeah, I heard it is kind of depressing, but it's like comedy depressing. Well, that's kind of Atlanta too. Atlanta's funny, but it's also kind of depressing.
But BoJack's way more depressing
Really?
than Atlanta. BoJack is really depressing sometimes, but it's really good.
Yeah.
You'll also understand why sometimes they'll go, "What are you doing here?" Because that's from that show.
Also, it's Will Arnett not doing that horrible movie we saw he was in. I forget which movie it was. But at one movie we went to see, I think it was A Quiet Place. Or maybe an Isle of Dogs. We saw a preview of a movie with Will Arnett, and we're just like, Will, what are you doing, man? You don't have to do this.
I like how Will Arnett always talks the same, but he never sounds the same. Like BoJack, Job on Arrested Development, and his character, he is a prominent character of 30 Rock. He talks in the same voice in all of them, but they all feel so different. Like, even, I'm like, that's good acting, because he's not even trying, but he's doing it.
Yeah. Like, he's still doing some good stuff, too. And just, then also, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then whatever that movie was, I forget what it was. Oh, no, it was the sequel to a movie, some dog movie or something. It was like a sequel. Like, man, so he's done 2 of these now. Poor Will.
You got to stare at Megan Fox's butt, though, in Ninja Turtles. That happened.
But that was a career highlight for for Will Arnett. So, this is going to be the first time I've seen this really big movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey, and second time I've seen the Stanley Kubrick movie. But before, in between Black Klansman and this podcast, I watched another movie, really big movie for the first time.
Yeah.
No Country for Old Men.
One of the 2 big movies of 2007.
That's a crazy, like, year that for the Oscars, like, the fact that they had to choose between There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men
Don't forget Transformers.
and Transformers. What else was like Best Picture nominated that year?
I don't remember.
But yeah, I mean, those two movies alone. It's been a while since like we've had a year where it's like two movies that are that good that you can go either way. I mean, maybe last year with their Shape of Water and Three Billboards, but
Yeah.
it was less of like a competition of
Yeah.
two really great movies.
Yeah, like, that was a tough one, but it wasn't quite to...
And those were like two very different movies too, whereas
Yeah.
No Country and
Yeah, they're kind of similar. Like,
Yeah.
I got some similar things going on.
yeah,
Hell or High Water reminds me a lot of No Country.
yeah. Hell or High Water is good. I'm really happy that was nominated for Best Picture. Sicario wasn't, which is crazy.
Sicario reminds me a lot of No Country. Like,
Yeah,
it's got a lot of themes of No Country. Like, you're not in control.
yeah. Sicario is like genuinely one of my favorite movies of ever. Like, I think about that movie a lot, and it's surprising because I watched it after I watched 2049, and I was like, 2049 is my favorite Denis Villeneuve movie yet, and I kind of don't see anything topping it. And I was like, I'm gonna watch Sicario. I feel like that'll probably sit middle of the road in my Denis movies. I think I'll probably like Arrival better than it too. And then nope, Sicario is probably my favorite of the three that I've seen. I haven't seen Prisoners yet.
You gotta see Prisoners, and I really need you to watch Enemy so I can talk about what's
Yeah.
so funny, because it's... Woo! And it's... Good thing about Prisoners, it's an hour... Oh, not Prisoners. Enemy. It's an hour and a half.
Oh wow.
So it's not super long.
Is it on
Commitment.
Netflix? Or?
Yeah, they just
Okay,
added it to Netflix.
I also watched The Lobster, which I think you should watch because
I haven't meaning to.
it is such a weird movie. It's like one of the most unique movies I've ever seen, for better or for worse. It's such a weird movie. I don't want to say too much because
Speaking of weird movies, you need to watch Swiss Army Man.
yeah, I do need to watch that. But Lobster almost feels like an episode of Black Mirror, in that it's like this kind of weird alternate world where things are real weird, and trippy, and
But you don't feel depressed at the end?
it's like a lot of everything is social commentary in The Lobster. Like everything has a deeper meaning.
Black Mirror just usually leaves you feeling slimy and gross and
Yeah,
sad.
Lobster didn't make me feel that way in the end. It mainly just made me feel confused and unsure of how to feel about it.
That's how I felt at the end of Swiss Army Man.
Yeah.
Though I
That one's a weird trip all the way through.
I laughed a lot through Swiss Army Man.
The Lobster is like one of those like kind of awkwardly funny movies too. It's not like it's very
Yeah.
comedic, but it's not like one that you're gonna laugh a lot at. It's more just kind of a comfortable. Weird.
Have you seen Okja?
No, not yet.
Okja's pretty good. It's got Paul Dano, who was in...
Jake.
It's got Paul Dano, who was in Swiss Army Man and There Will Be Blood, and Jake Gyllenhaal, who was in Prisoners and Enemy, tying it all together. Hey, once I'm further tying it together, I can connect Black Klansman to 2001: A Space Odyssey. Are you ready?
Sure.
Black Klansman stars John David Washington, son of Denzel Washington. But he was also in, I'm pretty sure it was Malcolm X when he was a little kid, like a bit role with Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington was in Man on Fire with Dakota Fanning. Dakota Fanning was in War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise starred in Eyes Wide Shut, directed by Stanley Kubrick, who directed 2001: Space Odyssey. Yeah! Connections. It's all connected.
Good one.
I did that without having to look it up on IMDb.
Black Klansman, that was a good movie.
It's a really good movie.
That was a very good movie.
Yeah, that's my...
It's probably the best movie this year so far I've ever seen.
It's my second favorite still, because I just absolutely love Annihilation.
Oh yeah.
But it's really
I
close.
still need to watch Annihilation.
Yeah, I don't know if you're ever going to.
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, I don't work Wednesday or Thursday. So if I have any free time, probably Thursday, I might watch it.
Maybe this movie will spur you on to watch Annihilation.
I have been getting back in the movie watching mood, mainly because I was sick. When I'm sick, that's generally when I just kind of do nothing and watch movies. So I watched In Bruges, which was Martin McDonagh's first full feature movie. I watched The Lobster, and then I watched No Country for Old Men. 3 very different movies. Although Lobster and In Bruges both have Colin Farrell and are both pretty funny. In Bruges was really good too. I definitely don't like it as much as 3 Billboards, but it's pretty good. It has Ralph Fiennes, he's great.
I'm done eating my sandwich, people, just so you know. I feel like you should know that.
I've also finished my caramel macchiato, or macchiati, or machete.
I don't think I've watched anything movies recently.
And I also finished The Pacific for a second time watching it. Because I only watched it the first time, and I was like younger, and then I haven't watched it again since I've started caring more, and then also seeing Rami Malek after I've seen Mr. Robot. It's pretty good. Pacific's alright.
Yeah, I don't think I've watched anything new since Black Klansman. I got a Filmstruck account.
Oh yeah.
So we get all those pretentious artsy movies and classic.
Heck yeah.
It's got the Criterion Collection, which I love the Criterion Collection. I've got a handful of Criterion Collection. So they've got a good selection of Akira Kurosawa films. I'm excited about that. And Andrei Tarkovsky films. 2 directors all. Nothing but Sergei Leone, which is my favorite director of all time. Which you kind of figured his movies are more well known. Like, you've probably heard of his movies. He directed Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Like, everybody's heard of those movies. He's my favorite director of all time, because, like, when you really start digging his movies, it's like, holy shit, the artistry. And they're all westerns, so, like, I think everybody writes them off, because nobody thinks westerns can be really good, but they're so good. Once Upon a Time in the West is, like, up there. It's one of the movies I give a 10. It, 2001, Citizen Kane. I feel like there's something else I give a 10, but I don't remember.
The Happening.
The Room. I give The Room a 10.
Is The Happening like The Room level of bad? Like, probably not. I mean, it has a budget, but...
Yeah. No, it is.
But, The Happening is worse because it's embarrassing, because the people working on it, like, it has good actors in it, or decent actors in it, and then also M. Night Shyamalan, who has made very good movies, or good movies.
He's made 2 good.
And then The Happening is...
It happened.
Is The Happening his worst movie, or is it Last Airbender?
See, I think that's a top...
I need to watch The Last Airbender again.
Maybe The Last Airbender, because The Happening, everyone's like, but it's like The Room. Is it so funny it's bad?
Yeah.
I think The Last Airbender, generally for most everyone, is just bad.
Yeah, just disappointing.
Especially if you're a fan of the show. Because the show is so good and vibrant and rich and just... There's so many good things in the show. It's so well written and thought out. And then you get this really lazy, awful...
Yeah. I don't remember anything about The Last Airbender movie. I should watch it again just to see the train wreck.
I don't want to. I can't. Yeah, but there's like a bunch of movies that get the title the worst movie ever made. The Room, Troll 2, Plan 9 from Outer Space, Reefer Madness, The Happening. There's a bunch of them.
Mad Max 3?
No, it's not funny. It's just bad. Did you watch it?
No.
Yeah, it's bad.
I was gonna watch it, and then my dad told me that, or it was either my dad or you told me that Tina Turner like sings in it multiple times.
She doesn't sing in the movie.
Oh, she doesn't?
No, but she recorded 2 songs for the movie. One plays over the opening credits, and one plays over the end credits, I think. So she doesn't sing in the movie.
Okay. Well, I thought she
still.
just sang in the movie, and I was like, man, I don't want to watch that.
I mean, it's still rough.
Yeah.
She's got one of my favorite lines. She's like, "But he's just a raggedy man." And I'm just like, all right.
I really need to watch Fury Road again. I only watched it the one time.
Fury Road's
I
so
need to
good.
see it again.
It's such a beautiful film. It's so beautiful. It's like
Yeah.
beauty.
That would have been another good one to see in IMAX. Although that might be a little overwhelming. So much is
I
going
wish I
on.
could have seen that in IMAX. I don't think I hadn't learned of the theater with the IMAX theater at that point, or I might have seen it in IMAX.
Yeah, because you saw it at Mercer Mall, and that was good. That was a good time.
Because, yeah, I didn't learn of the IMAX theater nearby. It's only an hour away till The Force Awakens, because I wanted to go see it in IMAX. And so I found this theater. Yeah. Force Awakens. They're filming episode 9. That's going to be fun to see the reaction to that.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. It would be really funny if, like, in the next one, like, Rose Tico is, like, the main character. Just as a response to all of that. She gets the most
Star
screen
Wars
time.
fans are so awful. Because, like, let's look what they did to her. Go back. What they did to Hayden Christensen. Like, he's terrible. He is a terrible actor.
Well,
and I don't like his character. But he didn't deserve how people...
Well, yeah, and the guy that played Jar Jar, like...
And Jake Lloyd, who did little Anakin. Both of them. The guy that played Jar Jar was received so much he almost committed suicide.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And then Jake Lloyd just, like, it just messed him up to the point he started getting all sorts of stuff. Like, he's in a mental institution now.
That's awful.
Because of what Star Wars fans did.
And he's
because
a
they
kid
didn't
in
like
a movie.
Like, he was a kid actor. He was, like, 10. He didn't know any better. He just did what George Lucas tell him. He didn't need to be
And
bullied.
George Lucas famously had really bad directing in that movie. It's like, yeah, just do it more angry this time.
Are you an angel? Like, that line, there's no way he could have made that good. It's just bad. It's just bad. That movie is just bad. Gosh. Star Wars fans are some of the worst.
Yeah. I guess it's just because it's like Star Wars is like the biggest thing now.
I guess.
It's the biggest following, so it attracts the most people and therefore has the highest population of the awful internet people.
There's a lot of fandoms with awful.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Most fandoms are awful. And just Star Wars is the loudest right now. Solo comes out in a little bit.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it's like September, middle of September, I think.
Are you gonna get First Reformed?
I'm not gonna get it, but I think I'll probably rent it sometime and make my brother watch it.
I don't know. It was...
Yeah. It's not a movie I really want to buy, but I really like that cover, though.
Admit, you kind of want to have it, don't you? A little bit.
I love
Just,
it.
You want to have it just so you have it there.
The memories, yeah.
Like,
you know,
it's...
it was an experience.
Yes. I respect experience movies for nothing other than they give you experience. Like
Neon Demon?
No. Fuck that movie so much. I hate... That movie just made me angry.
I really need to watch Drive, so I've seen a good movie of him.
You also need to watch Only God Forgives.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point he's become such a joke to us. We need to watch his whole filmography.
Yeah, probably.
Just because he's become a joke. I mean, granted, you have a lot of directors that you gotta get into their filmography.
Hey, I got through Martin McDonagh. That was an easy one, though, because he's done 3 movies.
Yeah, you still got, like, David Fincher.
Yeah, like, all of David Fincher's movies. I've only seen Zodiac.
Danny Boyle's one. I would recommend.
And Coen Brothers, I want to watch. Coen Brothers, now that I've seen No Country, I want to focus on more. What's the next Coen Brothers movie I should watch?
I was going to say, Coen Brothers and David Fincher are the two I put up. There's a handful. If you want, I got a couple I can lend you. True Grit's really good. Their version of True Grit. Burn After Reading's on Netflix.
Oh, cool.
That's a really good one. That might be one.
I think Our Brother Where Art Thou's on something, but
that's a popular one.
Yeah.
That one, that's the only one I haven't seen.
Really?
I think. Yeah. Oh no, their other really big one, The Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski. Yeah.
Raising Arizona, you should see it. Simply because it's one of their earlier movies, but it's one of the few good movies with Nicolas Cage. So that's one reason to watch it. Because there's not many good movies with Nicolas Cage.
I'm gonna watch Fargo just because I've seen the show.
Fargo is one of their better movies.
Yeah.
Fargo, I really love Burn After Reading. Their worst movies are probably The Lady Killer is not very good. Probably Intolerable Cruelty. It's got Catherine Zeta-Jones and
That sounds like a fun one.
George Clooney. It's a romantic comedy.
And a romantic. Okay, that's not what I was thinking it was going to be about with the name. What's the name?
Intolerable Cruelty.
Intolerable Cruelty.
Yeah, he's like a divorce lawyer or something. Yeah,
That sounds like the sequel to Silence. Intolerable Cruelty.
Martin Scorsese, there's another one you have to dip your toe into.
Yeah, there's so many. I want to get through Nolan's filmography too, since I just have Inception, Insomnia, and Following.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I own Inception, and Insomnia's on Amazon. So
actually, you know what you should do? Find The Following. I'm pretty sure is on Filmstruck.
Oh, good idea.
Because I think it's part of the Criterion Collection. So,
people say it's a good one. It's very different.
I would watch Following and Inception, whichever order you want.
Yeah.
I would do Insomnia last. The reason I would do Insomnia last is because it's very different than those other movies.
Yeah.
And where it's a thriller, if you watch Insomnia and that finishes your Christopher Nolan, that would be a great movie to transition to David Fincher's films.
Yeah.
Because it's very simpler.
As a run of David Fincher though, is like his movies aren't on anything. Most of them, a lot of them aren't. Like I think Zodiac's the only one.
Zodiac. Well, I've got a couple of them.
Yeah.
So any of the ones I got you.
Problem with Blu-rays or DVDs is I don't have a disc drive on my computer, so I have to watch it on TV, and that's more problematic.
I actually took the effort. I bought a external Blu-ray drive for my laptop.
Yeah, I should do that.
And hooked up.
And that was annoying because I bought Inception thinking it would have a digital code in it, and it didn't. It's like, well, dang. That's probably how I was going to watch Inception, so I guess I'll just have to watch it on TV sometime.
Inception's not a bad one. Some of David Fincher's you probably don't want to watch on the TV just for awkwardness sake.
Yeah.
Gone Girl and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo would be the most uncomfortable, I think.
Oh, yeah, I really want to watch The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
It's really good. Gone Girl is really good, too. Yeah. Seven's on Netflix. So that's,
yes, I remember that one.
That's one of his
That was
better
just
movies.
added not too long ago.
So, I think Curious Cage of Benjamin Button's on something. I feel like I saw it recently.
Yeah, I think it was.
A lot of people don't like that movie. I actually do.
I think probably just because it's weird.
It's not really that weird. It's very Forrest Gumpy, but not as feel-good family as Forrest Gump. The end is kind of a little depressing because David Fincher has to make a movie. He can't make a happy movie. But anything David Fincher makes, I want to watch because he's such a dynamic filmmaker. I just like those are my movie stars or directors. Like I'm more into directors than actors and actresses. Like there's ones I like, but it's a director that'll draw me in. I still have a lot of directors whose filmographies I need to get into. I got Alfred Hitchcock, Akira Kurosawa. Who else do I need to get into? There's a few of them. I haven't seen a lot of Spielberg's movies. I haven't. Like, I've seen all the big ones, but that's...
I started to watch Jurassic Park.
I've seen Jurassic Park every year since I was 3.
Let's see, what are Spielberg movies I've seen? Something Iron Giant when I was like real little.
He didn't direct that.
Oh, he didn't?
Brad Bird did.
Huh. For some reason I thought it was Spielberg.
No. He did Ready Player One, The Post. I'm just going backwards.
Yeah.
Bridge of Spies, BFG.
Bridge of of Spies is on Netflix too.
BFG is too. Lincoln, War of the Worlds, Minority Report, Jurassic Park, The Fallen World. I've stopped going backwards in order now. I'm just going as they pop in my head. E.T.
Did he do...
Jaws.
Yeah, I know I'm trying to think of the name of it. The one with, oh no.
Close Encounters of the Second Kind. Or Third Kind.
What's the name of it? The one about the, like...
Color Purple.
You're gonna get it before I do.
Amistad.
Getting close.
1941. That movie with young Christian Bale.
It's the movie with Eric Bana and a bunch of other actors.
Munich.
Munich, yes.
Yes, he did Munich.
Eric Bana is the only actor I can remember.
Yeah, he did Munich. There we go.
He's in a lot of movies. As Spielberg. He was also an executive producer on Band of Brothers and The Pacific. I think he was on The Pacific too.
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan.
He directed that.
that little movie.
Schindler's List.
That little movie we forgot of.
Steven Spielberg, Jurassic Park, and Schindler's List in the same year.
Wow, that's a
emotional
roller coaster.
He was having to edit Jurassic Park while shooting Schindler's List. He says it was really hard because at that point he didn't care about dinosaurs, but he was obligated to do it while filming this movie about the Holocaust.
Goodness, Spielberg's done a lot of movies.
Yeah. He was the first director to have a movie break the 100 million mark.
Which one?
Jaws.
Oh yeah, Jaws.
Jaws was the first summer blockbuster. I'd actually like to see it in theaters just because of its status. Which that one plays at the Marquee in Beckley a lot with their flashback cinema. Because they do that a lot and they get a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Kurgensberg does too.
I wanted to see... There's been 3 of them I wanted to see. The Jaws... they do the Wrath of Khan every year and I always want to go see it. Never do. They show the Indiana Jones movies. Those might be cool to see. I got to go see Monty Python and the Holy Grail there.
Nice.
That was nice. It was weird to see a good comedy on the big screen.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail is an interesting theater movie because, like, seeing it, if you saw it in theaters for the first time, that would be great because of the whole opening credits thing. Where it's like it tricks you out and like you're like, what is this movie? It like starts playing another movie and
like
they're like, no.
Handled by.
Yeah, and they start showing this movie about like a dentist or something, and then like you hear the guy at the projector be like, oh no, this is the wrong thing. Oh no.
What? That's not in that movie.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
The opening credits do a lot of weird stuff, but there's no dentist.
Yes. And then it goes through all that credits, and then it starts. It's only for like a very brief moment. At least on the DVD I have of it, it just starts playing this opening scene of like this black and white movie, the dentist, and then it's like this guy at the projector is like, oh, this is wrong thing, and then he.
I have it on Blu-ray and I saw it in theaters. Neither of that happened at either time.
Well,
are you sure you're not confused?
I am not mixing it up with
like the story of Brian.
No. That Monty Python and the Holy Grail is the only one I've seen of theirs. No, it's maybe this was only in the edition of the movie I have. I don't know, but
you have the only copy in existence. I've never seen that. I want to have to go home and start that movie.
Me too.
Just to see it. Like the credits are all crazy, but then it just goes to like it opens up with the coconuts.
Yeah,
that's where my head is. It just opens up with the coconut, him right along, and you hear the sound. And that's a good comedy.
Yeah,
I miss good comedies. Why aren't there good comedies anymore?
Tag.
You and Tag and my brother and Blockers. I don't know what I want to do with you all.
People actually like Blockers.
My brother really wanted to go see it. He's like 17 and he really wanted to see that movie. I was just like, maybe I'm just really out of touch. I like, Monty Python.
I didn't want to see Tag. That's just a joke.
Edgar Wright's comedies I like. He's probably one of the last ones. No.
Black Klansman. Granted,
Yeah,
it's not a comedy, but
it sort of is.
It's a dramedy. I really like dramedies, is what I found out.
The Swiss Army Man. That was funny.
Atlanta.
What was
Even Fargo is kind of a dramedy.
most True Grit and No Country for Old Men are pretty much the exceptions. Most Coen Brothers movies are comedies.
Yeah.
But they're very, very dark comedies. But like even Inside Llewyn Davis is kind of comedic.
Yeah.
But it's just very, very
No
messed
Country
up.
doesn't really have anything funny in it. I don't
No.
think.
That and True Grit are their like serious.
No Country was very good. We didn't talk about No Country enough. Granted, because it's a very old movie.
It's not that old.
Well, in 2007.
It's not old.
It's not a recent. It's not this year. But yeah, that was it.
Well, it's a lot newer than the movie we're going to see.
I'm not sure. I'm just saying. We didn't talk about much because it's not like Black Klansman that we just saw in the theater.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about more modern movies as we go see them. Because typically you don't get a lot of chances to see old movies in theaters, which is something I find sad. I wish more theaters would do like a flashback thing, just because I'd love to see Citizen Kane on the big screen.
Let's see Birth of a Nation, the movie that they watch in Black Klansman.
So I was going through Filmstruck, and where it's got the Criterion Collection, right? It's got a lot of old weird stuff, because the Criterion Collection is about preserving noteworthy things. And it'll preserve, like, old short films. It'll preserve, like, some medical stuff. And I came across one called, it's a medical film made in, like, the 20s, Experimental Treatment of a Hemorrhage on a Dog. And that's what it is. I didn't watch it because I was afraid. I don't want to see a dog's head explode or something. But that's what it was.
Wow.
I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. So, of like thoughty science fiction movies, because my brain's bouncing all over the place, like, less like Star Trek-y, Star Wars-y, like more of the like think tank. What would you say is your top one so far, like that you've seen? Because you haven't seen as many as like I have, but you've seen a few.
Are we throwing Blade Runner 2049?
Yeah, those are.
Well, Blade Runner 2049. Let's see. I'm trying to think of all of them I've seen. Interstellar, Moon, Arrival.
Ex Machina. That might be it.
Yeah.
The two Blade Runners and then those.
Two Blade Runners.
Because I want to formulate your list now, because I want to see where 2001 falls on it after you can have it. Because 2001's probably my top. It beats out Blade Runner. The only movie I think has a competition is there's one movie a lot of people consider one of the best science fiction movies, or in league with 2001, which is also on Filmstruck if you want to watch it, or I have a Blu-ray, but Filmstruck, because it's right there on your computer.
Looking through a list of movies I've seen.
It's called Solaris.
I think I've heard of that.
But before, if you ever go to watch it, well, if you're on Filmstruck, you won't have a problem because it's the only one they got. But if you go anywhere else, make sure to not get the 2002 one. Because it's directed by, Steven Soderbergh, I think. And it's got George Clooney, and it's really awful. Make sure you get the boring, almost 3-hour-long Russian film. Nothing like 3 hours of Russians talking, explaining existential theories and stuff.
Would we throw Edge of Tomorrow in that?
That one's a little...
It's kind of action-y.
That one's a little more light, like...
Yeah.
Something that kind of makes your head hurt a little bit, or is more trippy, or...
Guardians of the Galaxy. That's a very trippy movie.
It's very pretty.
I'm just kidding. I feel like I'm forgetting something very big.
If I'd had a bunch of pop brownies, I would have brought some to this movie. But I didn't have time to make pop brownies.
First Reformed's kind of a weird sci-fi movie.
Yeah, the best sci-fi. Like Mulan, the best sci-fi.
I'm still looking through this list.
Interstellar's your number one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You love when Anne Hathaway's like how love transcends everything in all time and space.
The Prestige is the best sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
It kind of is.
I think of it more as a thriller.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think of Prestige in the sci-fi category, but it kind of is.
I would throw Inception in there, but you haven't seen that one because you procrastinate.
Yeah.
I would also throw Annihilation in there, but you also haven't seen that one because you procrastinate.
The Prestige isn't science fiction. It's science real. that copy machine. Tesla made the first copy machine, and it's real. It's real. There are actually hundreds of Hugh Jackmans in this world. That's why he's in so many good movies.
I like how
just get a new Hugh Jackman.
I love how, well, if that was true, they would never stop making Wolverine movies. Speaking of Wolverine movies,
well,
how do you feel about Ethan Hawke? And yeah, we're not talking about that.
That's also kind of true in the X-Men world because they made more Logans in Logan. They made X-23 or whatever.
X-23, also known as Laura.
Or not what's the clone?
X-24.
X-24, yeah.
No, X-23 is the girl.
Okay, yeah.
You're right.
X-24.
In the comics, her name is either X-23 or Laura Kinney.
Well, she's also
Laura.
a Logan clone too, but not an actual. She's got his DNA or whatever, but whereas X-24 is literally Wolverine. Go Hoosiers, whatever those are.
Hoosiers?
What's a Hoosier?
Hoosiers, Indiana.
What is the Virginia? Oh,
Hokies.
Hokies, that's what it is.
They do both have H.
Whatever whatever a Hokie is.
It's a turkey.
It's a turkey? Who calls it a turkey a Hokie?
I wasn't here when they made the mascot.
Weird Virginia.
I just cleaned their windows. I have. I used to when I worked for my dad. We were contracted to clean all the windows in the stadium every year.
Boy, that's fun. Were you on one of those crane things that hang on the outside?
He never used those. He had a board that was some rope strapped to it. He sat on the board and it went down.
Wow. Oh yeah, I've seen those.
But I don't think he used them for that. Those we all did with poles. Being in the suites were weird, like the rich people suites where they can sit watch the games, the air conditioning, and have shrimp delivered to them or something.
I didn't even think that stadium would have things like that.
Oh no, there's a lot of big money in there.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I cleaned them all.
Is Virginia Tech's football team even that good?
I don't play football. They're very popular.
Yeah. Well, especially around here, but
I don't watch sports ball.
Yeah, neither do I.
I haven't watched sports ball since 2010.
I watch the World Cup every time that happens.
Yeah, I know, because there's 2 months out of the year
I care about soccer.
that I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And you're like, soccer.
I'm a sports fan this week, and then after that, I don't care anymore. My brother watches soccer a lot, or football, according to the rest of the world. So every now and then I see snippets of games. Like yesterday, I watched about 10 minutes of a game. So I was just in the room. Sports. Favorite sports movie. We Are Marshall. That's the correct answer. With Matthew McConaughey.
Rocky.
I'm trying to think of some good sports movies.
Rocky.
The Blind Side.
No.
Best picture. It has to be very good.
Oh God, that movie's awful. My grandmother made me watch that movie. It was awful.
I've seen that movie multiple times.
You have?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because I've watched it we watched it at school one time. I watched it for the first time with my family the first time, and then I've seen it at school probably multiple times in high school. I don't know. It's been on TV a lot, and my mom's watching it. I don't know. It's just one of those movies.
Why would anyone willingly watch that movie?
Can't escape.
It's got Tim McGraw.
It's just it's not as far as feel-good movies go, it's not that bad, but it is just a very
bad,
emotional, tug on your string, feel-good movie.
It's like a Christian movie. It's not
I mean, it kind of is.
It's not an Oscar movie.
It's a secular Christian movie.
Like First Reformed.
Well-
Blindside and First Reformed are basically the same movie.
Yeah, for real. I bet you Ethan Hawke is a big fan of The Blind Side.
Well, we know he's not a big fan of Logan. Because for some reason that's a story.
Yeah, for some reason that's a thing that came out in an interview. It's probably like something he was hoping wouldn't circulate, because actors and like filmmakers generally don't critique other movies or like say anything bad about other movies because they don't want to like hurt their chances of working with those people again. And then he just kind of offhandedly says this in an interview, and then it's like, oh, this is a big story. Ethan Hawke doesn't like Logan that much as other people. He still thinks he's alright, though.
I just want to know, why did they ask him about Logan in an interview?
Well, that's the IGN UK podcast forces every person they ever interview to give their opinion on The Prestige, which then in turn makes them give their opinion on Christopher Nolan movies in general.
Well, that's more of a joke than
Yeah.
but Logan, that feels like
It's like, by the way,
random.
how do you feel about Logan?
It's completely we could go see Christopher Robin.
That's
Just so that way every time we appear, so we can be like, General Kenobi.
It's over, Christopher Robin. I have the high ground.
I lost it on that one. I laughed so fucking hard.
Yeah.
I just love all of those memes.
Yeah.
All of them.
They're good.
It's just like, good. They're good. Yeah, they're very good.
Well, we made it to Frank Theater's Cinnabon and Grill with IMAX. Now people know what theater we're going to, and our fans are going to come, and they're going to come ask
Well,
for our
there's
autographs.
actually a bunch of Frank symbols across the country, so.
But we also reference Virginia Tech, so they know. You can narrow it down.
We could be talking about Virginia Tech in Florida.
Is there a Virginia Tech in Florida? They just have
Yes.
what?
It's
They just have a branch there or something?
Yeah, it's
That's
the new thing. Florida University got taken over by Virginia Tech.
Oh,
They're buying out campuses across the country.
that's true.
You know,
They're gonna buy Concord.
WVU is going to be Virginia Tech before long.
That would be funny.
Well,
That'd be really funny. It would just be West Virginia Tech.
we're about to embark on a great adventure,
A Space Odyssey, if you will.
an odyssey into space.
2018 Space Odyssey. They should have renamed it that just to anger people.
And we're out.
Time I think we leave the movie theater, I get my car keys out, thinking, "Hey, my car's here." But no.
And welcome back to Country Roads. Take us to the movies episode we don't know. The one where we saw 2001: A Space Odyssey. Also, spoilers for a movie that just turned 50.
In
So
IMAX.
yeah, we saw an IMAX, which that was okay. Let's just dive into it. How did you feel?
It was interesting. So the music that keeps playing throughout the is that originally from this?
No, it's all classical music.
Okay.
Yeah, the movie was actually going to have a score at one point, and then Stanley Kubrick just decided to go all classical music.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was originally from. So.
It's called Thus Spoke Zarathustra.
Because I knew the other song wasn't. Those are like the only two songs that play in it. Other than the just kind of like not music but sounds.
There's a lot of sounds in this movie. It's
interesting.
It's one of my favorite films of all time.
Serious nerd.
I don't think the college kids are in there. There was a group of, I think a film class is what
Yeah.
it looked like.
So it's important to note that we go in there. There's no one in the theater. We sit down in the like very middle, and then we're like, I wonder if anyone's gonna show up. And then a couple comes in, and they come in and sit somewhere behind us. And we're like, all right, we don't have to move. And then a dude comes in, and he sits down. And we're like, all right, we're good. The movie starts, and then a giant group of what we guess is college students from a film class, and then their professor, all come in. And of course, they all reserve one row, and it just happens to be the row we were sitting in, because we didn't sit in the row that we had the assigned seats for, because there was no one there, so we could sit wherever we wanted. And then, yeah, of course, they kick us out. And what's funny is the couple that was sitting behind us, I think they were sitting, like, immediately a row behind us. They also got up and moved back, because they're like, we don't want to be near these kids.
A similar thing happened to us when we saw Blade Runner 2049. There was no one there, so we took a different seat. And somebody came and was like, hey, that's our seat, so we moved to a different one. Then someone came and was like, hey, that's our seat. We moved to a different one. Then someone came and said, hey, that's our seat. And finally, on the fourth seat, we found nobody came and told us to move. Like, there was no one there except for the seats we were sitting in.
Yeah, everyone came in late on that one. It was like as previews were, like, almost done showing. Everyone came in. And they always trick us.
So, and during the intermission, because this movie had an intermission, because it's a little bit on the long end, and that's how they did movies back then. One of the girls was saying, I thought that was from the 90s, but I looked it up and it was from the 60s. I'm just like, this is why you ran off to pee. I was just like, what?
And then, like, the intermission starts, and then the professor asks, like, so what do you guys think of it? And, like, those two girls say on the end, were like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? I love this. I'm like, I'm not sure how honest that answer was, because they were talking the entire time. And I doubt they were paying that much.
And the one girl's like, how did they shoot the jaguars at the beginning? Because, like, that wasn't CGI, right? Because it never occurred to her that they just got an actual jaguar and filmed it. But that movie still is so sharp and clear.
So what year did that come out?
68.
68, wow.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It's, because, like, it looks kind of as good as Blade Runner. And Blade Runner wasn't until, like, 79?
82.
82.
You're just...
What was in...
79? Alien came out in
There's another
79.
movie where I was thinking that we mentioned earlier that I thought was in the 80s, but it was actually, like, immediately before the 80s. I'm trying to remember what it was. Anyway. Yeah, it looks really good. So, I imagine that was, like, one of the first movies that had, like, AI, that like, talked about AI and stuff.
It was.
Right?
Well,
Like, so that was, like, the first one to do, hey, maybe don't trust these AI.
Something interesting. Go one letter down from each letter in Hal's name.
What do you mean?
Like, on the alphabet, go one letter before.
Oh, so...
Or...
H-I-J. So, A-B-C-D, E-F-G. So, G. And
No,
then...
okay, never mind. The other direction. Down. I can't remember
down.
directions.
So, I. And then... A. So, B. M. I-V-M.
IVM.
Yeah.
That's what Hal was for. Yeah. Yep. It's... something I still think is really impressive is the outfits of the apes at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, they're really good looking.
Yeah.
Like, they're fully articulated, the mouths move. Like, and not just like they open and close, like they can snarl and adjust a little bit. Like,
Yeah, and then when they're like all sitting there together hiding from the jaguar. And yeah, and they're like scared. And then there's like two rival ape gangs and they fight each other. See, I told you this was Planet of the Apes. This is the prequel to Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes, the original one came out the same year.
Really? That's
Yeah.
cool. So, how many movies had Kubrick made before 2001?
Ooh. Let's see. One, two, three, 4, 5. He had made about 5 or 6, I think.
So this was it, and like were they big ones? Like when did was Shining and
Shining
Full
was...
Metal Jacket and like those post 2001? Or...
Yes, yeah. He's got actually, this might be. Yeah, this is like the sixth or seventh film. There's like one or two films. There's two films I can remember between 2001 and The Shining.
Was Mad Max 79?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, the original 79.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. No, the biggest thing Kubrick made was Spartacus, which was a big, like, I guess, equivalent to a blockbuster at the time. It was a big movie. But that's a movie he kind of disowned. Like, he was extremely... He hated it. It's his most hated movie he made, if I remember right.
He's not still alive, is he?
No. He died at the end of the 90s. His last film was called Eyes Wide Shut. That's generally regarded as his worst one.
Is that the one with Tom Cruise and there's like an orgy or something?
Yeah, he died during post. If I remember
I only know about that one from a Nerd Rider video talking about it.
Stanley Kubrick, fun fact, you know AI, the Steven Spielberg movie? Or have heard of it at least. With
maybe,
Haley
yeah.
Joel Osment. He's like a little robot boy. AI was conceived by Stanley Kubrick. He wanted to make it, but he didn't think he didn't think a kid would have the acting range to play it. But computer effects weren't there yet until Jurassic Park. And he saw how good Jurassic Park was, and he thought maybe it could be made. But then he died before that could happen. So Spielberg, who was a humongous Kubrick fan and actually got to know him a little bit towards the end of Kubrick's life, set out to make it.
Yeah. This movie with the Dave Howe stuff, except for the last part, was kind of how I imagined Moon was gonna go. I thought like Kevin Spacey AI was like gonna turn on him and stuff like that, but it turns out Kevin Spacey AI was good the whole time. Who would have thunk it? And it was the corporate overlords back on Earth that were screwing Sam Rockwell over.
So, like, on the arbitrary rating system, what do you give 2001? How do you feel about that?
I'll give it 3 space babies out of infinite space babies. So that doesn't really mean anything.
I mean, like I said, it's one of my favorites. I kind of figured going into it you probably wouldn't be as hot on it as I am.
Well, I mean, and I've experienced it knowing a lot of like what happens in it.
Even then, it's still...
So I'm just saying, like that, you know, going into it not knowing anything about it like you did originally, I feel like probably had a bigger impact. Whereas, you know, I've heard about it so much, and I know that it starts with like 15 minutes of apes doing stuff.
There's 30 minutes, I think it's 30 minutes before a single line of dialogue is spoken.
Wow. And then I know the stuff with the AI, and then the AI like turns on them, and then I know it gets weird and trippy at the end, and that's about it that I knew. And I knew there was some kind of space baby involved.
Were you prepared for how weird it gets, or how trippy it gets?
Not fully. Like, yeah, like the stuff with the aging Dave. Like, there's weird, different time periods of Dave, and this weird room. I didn't know about that, and then I guess it ends with Dave is a baby now. Or I guess it's a place of infinite.
Yeah.
So like all of those exist at the same time. I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Do you get where Christopher Nolan was pulling with Interstellar?
Yeah,
like,
where it's relatively straightforward throughout, and then weird and trippy at the end. Except with Nolan, it comes back to normal at the end. It gets weird and trippy, and then tries to be normal after that.
It also tries to explain the weird and trippy.
Even though there's no explaining your weird bookshelf thing, Nolan.
That's where 2001, I think, is stronger. It doesn't try to explain anything. It's just, here it is.
Yeah.
And there it is. Which one do you think is a better film? Not like necessarily like more, but just well-made film.
I don't really know how to critique 2001, and I don't really know where I have problems with it. Whereas with Interstellar, there's points where I have problems with it, which is the bookcase thing, and from then on out. Like, I like Interstellar up until the bookcase thing, and then it's like, all right, this is kind of stupid. Yeah, so I don't know. It's amazing how good it looks, though. That was the thing with watching Blade Runner for the first time. Was like, when I watched Blade Runner for the first time, I was like, this is the best looking movie I've ever seen, and it's from the '80s. And yeah, 2001's up there too.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick. And Ridley Scott's very kind of visually a perfectionist too, but
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick really was. Like, all his movies still look really good.
Yeah. I love the space stations and like all the different colors of things and like the furniture and like the spacesuits and the shots of Dave with his helmet on, like just the close-up shots with and it's got their colors reflecting. That was really pretty. And like it does that a lot. It shows that a lot.
It's a very visual movie. That's why I'm super excited for the 4K version that comes out like in a month. Like that, I'll get that immediately because that's gonna be. That film is so gorgeous.
So for this version of it at IMAX, like, did they touch up the visuals a good bit, or like
maybe a little bit, but like,
or is they're just finding a way to convert it to IMAX? I don't understand how.
I think they just kind of, for the most part, left it alone. For the most part, I think they may have like enhanced it some, like remaster, but for the most part, they didn't touch a whole lot other than the conversion.
So, with the second part of it, where it's with that one doctor dude, and they go to that space station that's like on a moon or something.
Yeah.
And they go to that, and then it says 18 months later, and it's with the crew of that mission to Jupiter. What if they had already been sent during the doctor part?
I think it was like right after.
Because it's like, I wonder what if they were already on their way before whatever went wrong there happened, and like with the loud noise and
when they found the monolith.
Yeah, when they found the like, who knows what happened there. So I was wondering if like maybe that happened while like they had already been flying to Jupiter.
The movie doesn't offer a lot of answers to anything, which is part of the point of the movie, which doesn't really bother me. I'm okay with mysterious movies. Both the Blade Runners are great examples of like not really giving you a lot of answers.
Were there any actors in that did other things?
I mean, they've all acted in a handful of things, but there's no one like noteworthy.
Because the guy that plays Dave looks familiar, like really familiar, and it may have just been because I've seen like clips and shots and stuff of
movie. I mean, he's been in other stuff, but he's not someone really recognizable. He's no,
There's a lot of birthdays in the movie too, which is two, but it makes a big deal to point out two birthdays happening.
I think it's supposed to be more of a human.
Yeah.
Well, one theme going throughout that a lot of people think is how the spaceships represent like reproduction, like the spaceship coming to the wheel, and the ones flying to the planet, especially the last spaceship with its shape and going to Jupiter is like sperm to an egg.
Yeah.
And then the space baby coming out. Yeah. That's one of the popular theories.
My theory is, so after Dave gets back in the ship and he shuts down Hal, and he sees that everyone's dead and that they're screwed, and that the mission's over, he's like, all right, we're just gonna fly to Jupiter, and he happened to bring with him a bunch of like acid or something, and then that's the rest of the movie is him. He's like just flying to Jupiter to, he knows he's gonna die, so he's just flying to Jupiter to the send off, and he does a bunch of acid, and that's what happens.
Last time I watched this movie, I was on acid during the Stargate sequence, and it was very intense. It was very intense. It's a movie. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the few I give a 10 to, and it was one of the ones I wanted to see in theaters for a while now, a lot.
I'm trying to think of other movies that have kind of mimicked or copied the whole HAL AI thing, and Ex Machina is the only one that kind of comes to mind of not trusting the AI. I mean, I know that's been done in sci-fi stuff a ton, but I'm just trying to think of things I've seen.
Well, if one thing that's interesting about 2001 is the technology, because a lot of it's come real.
Yeah.
Like the pads that they had that they watch everything. That's like an iPad.
Yeah. And it was kind of interesting the food things they ate. So like they handed them this juice thing that had like a bunch of different types of juice, and then when they got their food, it was like the same thing but solid. That was just something I noticed. The same, different colored space food, and them space sandwiches, man. Space sandwiches look tasty. There's a lot of just breathing in space, which is kind of...
It's one of the first films to have like no sounds in space.
Yeah.
Which still to this day doesn't happen a lot. A lot of people like to put sounds in space, which isn't real.
Yeah. Like Star Wars, Star Trek. Some of those are funny though because it's inconsistent. Like sometimes there's sounds in space and sometimes there's not.
Yeah. Interstellar was quiet in space, right?
I think so.
Even when there was the explosion scene on the dock kind of mimics the point when he explodes and
Yeah.
comes in the emergency airlock. Interstellar just took so much of 2001. It wanted to be that movie so bad, and it just doesn't quite pull it off, I feel like. Mostly more than anything, it's Christopher Nolan's philosophical musings of how love transcends.
Yeah.
Which I don't even hate that as much, because I've seen that done before, and done well. A film I think I mentioned earlier, Solaris. It's kind of got a similar motif with that going. But Solaris does it really well. It makes it really engaging and interesting. Whereas 2001, it's just Anne Hathaway is like, love is measurable across all dimensions and time.
You've seen Gravity, right?
Yeah.
How was that for a space movie? Is it basically just Space Castaway?
Kind of. I was thinking about Gravity, actually, weirdly enough, at the start of this movie, for something reminding me of that. Gravity would have been better if it had been Sandra Bullock, in my opinion. I don't like her very much.
Jessica Chastain.
I was thinking she would have been a good...
Yeah. Jessica Chastain is just sub. You can sub in for any movie with a not as good actress. Because she's kind of it. You know, Emily Blunt, Jessica Chastain. Trying to think of some others. Alicia Vikander.
Yeah, she's really good. Rooney Mara's not a bad actress at all. She's a pretty good actress.
Yeah.
She was in Her.
Carey Mulligan.
Carey Mulligan's really good. I'm coming around to Amy Adams.
I haven't really seen her in a lot.
She was good in Her, too.
Oh, yeah.
She's got I think it might be a mini-series on Netflix.
Yes,
Sharp Objects.
Yeah. I saw something about that.
It's supposed to be really good from what I heard. It's based off a book, which was written by the same woman that wrote Gone Girl.
What is the Australian actress that's in everything now? She's been in everything for a while. Nicole Kidman. She's in so many things, and I don't think I've actually seen her in anything. I can't think of something I've seen with her in it.
I get Nicole Kidman and Naomi Watts confused a lot, so if I ever mention one of their movies and it's the other one, that's just because I get them confused. I also used to get Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon horribly confused.
Nicole Kidman's in Boy Erased, and she's in one other movie coming out now. She was in. I was watching the trailer for that movie that came out last year. Killing of the Sacred Deer, I think it was the name of it,
I think so.
which was done by the Lobster guy, also starring Colin Farrell, and it also has Sonny, I can't remember his last name, but the kid that plays Atreus in God of War, and he's in mid-90s. He's in that, and also the younger boy actress in Dunkirk, and in that movie I can't remember the name of, but it's the true story of those kids that tried to rob a bank or something.
American Animals.
Yeah, that one. He's the boy in Dunkirk that like hits his head and dies. And that movie looks really weird. Can you say your dear? But I don't know. I've seen all these like trailers or like things about movies lately, and they're like Nicole Kidman's in all of them. Like goodness. And I somehow haven't seen her in anything.
She was in Impossible, right? Or was that Naomi
No,
Watts?
that was either Naomi Watts or
I
I get Naomi Watts and Rachel Weisz mixed up.
See,
Rachel Weisz is in The Lobster.
See, for me, it's Nicole Kidman and Naomi Watts.
I can't like picture Naomi Watts' face.
I think she looks like Nicole Kidman as in that picture. It's just her.
I'm just seeing Rachel Weisz.
Who else have I got mixed up? I used to get Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon mixed up a lot for some reason.
Oh no. Joaquin Phoenix and Matthew McConaughey. I never mix them up, but they're kind of both weirdos.
Different reasons, though.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm looking forward to White Boy Rick.
When is that? It's like very soon. I keep seeing
Yeah,
ads
it's like
for
in
it.
2 weeks. That'll probably be our next thing. White Boy Rick! Matthew McConaughey with the mullet.
I can't wait for Joaquin Phoenix Joker. I mean, not really. I mean, it could be good, but it's not like something I ever wanted.
It's not something anybody ever
To be
really
honest,
wanted.
I don't really want another Joker movie to begin with, because we have the best Jokers already with Heath Ledger and Mark Hamill. So it's like I don't really.
We still have Mark Hamill.
No.
He can still do the Joker, people.
I don't know that I want the live action movie with him.
No, not live action. They get like some cosplayer to play the Joker physically and just dub Mark Hamill's
Or they
voice
could just
in.
do an animated movie.
They did that, and they adapted one of the Batman Joker
Killing
stories.
Joke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was a big deal, but then they screwed it up by having
Yeah.
Batman have sex with Batgirl.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And everyone was really creeped out because in the comics they typically have more of a father-daughter relationship.
Yeah, she's like a lot younger.
And it's just like, you had one job, and you just didn't do it right.
I also heard it was just not great in general. It was just disappointing.
But
Every time we pass by there's my car.
no, I keep stealing.
Keep stealing my car, driving it all the way down here, and then driving back to Princeton
before we get there.
ahead of us. Somehow.
And every time we come this way, we get to see your favorite
Yeah,
award.
that's coming right up.
You know what we forgot to do on our Black Klansman review or discussion, whatever?
We didn't score it.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
do the arbitrary number system.
Yeah, I realized that like as I was driving back home. So Black Klansman gets
2 car bombings out of 1 car bombing.
and I actually scored it last night on not Friday night on a live stream because someone asked me what I scored it in my review, and I said 7 white hoods out of 6, something like that. So there we go.
Yeah. Takeaway, it's a really good movie. Go see
Yeah,
it.
probably the best movie this year so far that I've seen.
And if
Granted, I haven't seen Annihilation or 8th Grade or Sorry to Bother You.
And if you get a chance to see 2001 in IMAX, it's worth seeing for the experience alone. I think so.
I'd say that.
Even if it's not your weird cup of tea like me, I like my weird movies. It's a good
We
one.
gotta pay attention to this theater to see if they ever show anything else in IMAX that's old. Hey, there's a deer.
Maybe. We might get Blade Runner eventually one day
Yeah.
for the 35th anniversary or something. Lord of the Rings, that's what I'm looking forward to. We're not too far away from the 10th anniversary of them all. Like, there's a chance we could get since they like to milk that money out, they showed about The Hobbit. Maybe we could get a re-release.
See, I don't even know that if I would want to see those in IMAX necessarily.
Well, maybe not IMAX, but to see them in theaters, at least,
Yeah.
is something I would love to do. Because I got to see Return of the King, but I didn't see the first two, and I just love those movies so much. I would love to see them in theaters.
Those big battle scenes in Two Towers and Return of the King would be kind of cool in IMAX. Like Helm's Deep, Minas Tirith, and all that. Remember Peter Jackson? It's crazy. It's crazy how his career went. He kind of went a George Lucas kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah. He hasn't done anything in a long time. Since The Hobbit. That was like 4 years ago. He's producing a movie coming out, Mortal Engines or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's like based off an anime or something, or
something like that. It looks like teenage, young adult Mad Max is what it looks like to me.
It's like Howl's Moving Castle of like the giant moving buildings, except they like fight each other.
It doesn't look that great in my opinion. Oh, another.
Well, it's gonna be another Ghost in the Shell thing where they adapt this beloved anime or whatever it's from, but they make it really bad. So.
Well, another anime or manga or whatever coming is Alita Battle Angel, which looks very Uncanny Valley, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Aren't you excited for that one?
Oh man, and it's got what's his face in it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. He's in Inglourious Basterds.
No, I'm thinking the guy from Moonlight. Oh yeah, Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
What's the name of that guy? What's the name of that human I'm trying to think of from Moonlight? I think Moonlight's the only thing I've seen him in, but Mahershala Ali.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear talking about that. It's going to be a weird movie that we probably won't go see because we don't go see normal mainstream films.
Yeah, because we're pretentious.
I wonder how those college students really felt about this movie.
Yeah.
Because they didn't look like artsy college students. They looked like, dude, I went to go see.
I think they were a bunch of freshmen. They definitely had a freshman vibe.
I went to go see Star Wars and what's another mainstream big movie? Avengers.
Avengers, yeah.
And I'm like, we have gone to see mainstream movies, just not as we reported. Because we did Solo this year, Quiet Place. Last year we did Apes and Baby Driver.
In a way, Sicario 2 is kind of mainstream and then it's bad.
That doesn't make it mainstream. There's bad indie movies.
I mean, it's a movie that I think only fans of the first movie saw and just mainstream people looking for a summer action movie.
I think they probably enjoyed it because they're like, Flux Nellies and terrorism and guns.
I was so disappointed by like
somebody's dad really
the movie critics that I like, especially on YouTube, that liked it, and like it had a thought-provoking ending. Like, yeah, it sure did.
His ending was
It had a trippy ending that you don't see coming. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things I didn't see coming about this movie, and that's not a good thing.
Nothing you didn't see coming. Everything that you thought was going to happen good didn't. It managed to fill your expectations every way.
Like, I'll say this: it had some good action parts with the car, like where they kidnapped the girl. That part was alright. Josh Brolin is kind of cool in it. Benicio del Toro is cool in a few scenes. And then his accent kind of goes all over the place. And then he gets shot. And then he gets shot in the head and somehow is still alive. Oh no, he gets shot through the mouth is what happens.
But he doesn't lose any teeth. It just goes through his cheeks.
Yeah, it goes through his cheeks, and yet somehow he's like near death after that. I'm like, that would hurt a lot, yeah, but he's like struggling to survive.
But he does. So
But
that way he can pop up a year later and it's my boy.
And just like, for what reason? Anyway, We really should not give that movie the time of day. Like Neon Demon, though. I think we should reference Neon Demon in every podcast.
I think we have
I know.
referenced it in every podcast. I still can't believe I got you to watch that. I didn't think you would actually do it.
I was just like, you know what? Let's watch something weird. It took, and I like watched it in chunks out that day too.
Yeah, I remember that. Because I was like, no, just go through the whole thing at once.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I don't hate myself that much. we should do a movie commentary for Neon Demon. Where we just watch it. And
That'll be the final episode of this podcast.
So the next one.
Whenever we're decided it's time to hang up the hat, hang up the cow, we wrap it up with us hating ourselves for 2 hours, or however long that movie is. I don't even know that movie is that long. It's just very slow.
It feels that long.
Yeah.
I'm just saying beforehand, if we ever do watch that and do a commentary, I'm doing a lot of drugs beforehand because I don't think I can take it sober a second time. I'm taking a lot of something. Drugs, alcohol, NyQuil. Something is changing my mind.
Don't want to do NyQuil, you won't stay awake. I mean,
Well, that's the best outcome.
that would be a funny commentary. It's just me. Like, after halfway through, just me because you're passed out. Like, yeah, Parker's still out. So I guess it's just me. How about that,
Kiana.
Fanning girl? What's her name? Ella Fanning?
Yeah, she's the little sister of Dakota.
Yeah. I was about to say Dakota Fanning. That's why I was trying to remember her name.
Remember Dakota Fanning?
Yeah.
She's
in something. She was either in something recently or she's doing something now.
I haven't seen her in a while.
Ella Fanning, who wasn't anything as a child, or as that I can remember, anything big at least. She's now the big of the Fannings. That's the way it goes. Like with Macaulay Culkin, it's his brothers that are.
Does he have brothers?
Yeah, Kieran McCulkin.
I didn't know that there was.
I think he has 2 brothers, but I know there's the one that he's done a lot of things. None of them like huge, but he's in Fargo. I think he was in that Tusk movie.
Oh no.
He's been in several things that I've seen.
I mean, you got a couple like families and sibling actors, like Vera Farmiga. Are you familiar with her at all?
I don't think so.
Well, she's in The Conjuring, so she's an actress. Her younger sister's starting to do some things. And when I say younger sister, I mean younger. I thought it was Vera Farmiga's daughter.
Yeah.
And no, there's like just a 20-year age gap between them. And they look exactly alike too. Then you have the Wahlbergs.
Yeah.
And we can't forget the royal family of Hollywood. The Baldwins. I think we bring up the Baldwins every podcast.
I have a hard time remembering all of the Baldwins.
There was a weird period where, for some reason, you mentioned the Baldwins all the time. Like, it was a running joke. Everything we talked about, somehow the Baldwins came up.
Well, what's funny is Alec Baldwin was in Black Klansman, and we barely even mentioned it. Like, I know we mentioned that he was in it, but
Yeah.
now Adam Baldwin, that's the one in Firefly, right? Now he isn't actually related to the Baldwins, right?
Yeah, no, he's not actually.
Yeah, but he is Adam Baldwin, right?
I think
Is that
so.
right?
Yeah. He's
So
not Baldwin.
yeah,
He's just
but
Baldwin.
in the Baldwins, it's Alec, Steven.
There's that one that's in the Christian movie.
Yeah,
where
there's
they can't
one
say
that
Christmas.
there's one that's they've disowned. Because it's like Alec and his other brother, and then he has turned to the dark side. So there's like a feud there, and they like crap talk each other.
There's one in like a libertarian movie. There's
I'm
that.
trying to remember their names. I think Stephen Baldwin is one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a Steve. Stumpy.
Grumpy, Sleepy. The Affleck brothers. Those are probably the most successful brothers. Like maybe the Wahlberg brothers are actually successful money wise, but none of them have.
Are they?
None of them.
I only
Because they have so
one.
much ventures. Because Donnie Wahlberg, who's acted a little bit. He was in Band of Brothers, and then now he just does Blue Bloods, that TV show, network TV show. But he was also in that boy band. I forget which boy band. Maybe NSYNC.
Wait.
Boys to Men, maybe.
He was in a boy band?
Yes, Donnie Wahlberg is in a boy band, and they're the one that's touring again.
Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet, maybe.
The Backstreet Boys.
Maybe.
Because they're on Check Mix Backs.
Well, no. So there's like a few boy bands that are touring again. But anyway, he was in, and so he has that venture, and then Mark Wahlberg's in all of the big movies, and he's actually done some good movies, but he's in a lot of big movies that sell a lot.
Remember when he was a rapper?
Yeah.
Remember when he was Marky Mark, and he's just like, pow! Yo,
So
I'm Marky Mark.
He had that business venture, and then they have the show with Donnie and Mark, and then their brother, who I don't think has acted or done anything. He's just in that reality show. So they have some business ventures. They've spread themselves pretty wide, whereas the Affleck brothers, it's just film.
I want a movie directed by the Coen brothers, starring all the Baldwins, all the Wahlbergs. And let's see, who else can we put in here?
The Afflecks.
That's too much.
They're actually good.
Like a lot of the budget's gonna be spent getting Mark Wahlberg, so you gotta get the lower ends of the siblings. I feel like you can get all the Baldwins pretty cheap.
What are some other siblings? I'm trying to think. I feel like there's a bit. Jake Gyllenhaal and Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, that's two that I think a lot of people forget.
Yeah.
Have you ever? This is gonna be completely off topic, but that's how our podcasts go. Have you ever heard of the movie with Maggie Gyllenhaal called The Secretary?
I don't think so. I feel like the only movie of Maggie Gyllenhaal I've heard of is Dark Knight.
She's in Donnie Darko.
Oh yeah. So wow, they're both in that.
Yeah, they play brother and sister.
Yeah.
That's
interesting.
That's one of the reasons they picked her was because the natural chemistry. Which, so when they're yelling insults at each other, it's really believable.
Yeah, that's funny.
But Maggie Gyllenhaal is in this movie with James Spader. He's the guy on the blacklist.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's a powerful businessman named Mr. Gray with peculiar tastes. And she's an innocent, kind of manipulable young girl that goes to work for him. And it starts all course toward weird sexual hijinks.
Oh, I don't want to think of James Spader in that context.
It's 50 Shades of Grey before 50 Shades of Grey.
Deer.
That looked like a dog, though.
No, that was a little...
It was a deer, but it was like a deer dog.
Deer dog.
Somebody crossed them.
Bird dog. Other siblings.
I think that's all.
I feel like there's a big one I'm forgetting. Oh, there's a dead deer. Goodness. Their deer they're out. I've seen two already that are living. We got a dead one. I wonder if that's like... If... our many listeners, I wonder if this is a problem they have in their areas, or if it's just an area since we're very wooded. We always hear about people talking about, oh, you almost hit a deer the other day, or I hit a deer the other day.
I've almost hit a few. I hit a raccoon the other day.
My dad has hit one, and he hit it hard and it killed it probably, and the car was mostly fine. And my brother just scraped one. Other than that, I almost hit a raccoon coming back from Concord.
I hit a raccoon the other night coming home from work. It just really ran out.
Yeah.
I saw its tail as it was going under the wheel.
I almost hit a deer too coming back from Concord. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Because it was me, and then there was a car behind me, and then I swerved around it, and then it ran out in front of the car behind me, and he missed it too. Yeah, I haven't hit a deer.
I almost hit a turtle the other day.
There was a turtle. So I live in Joho, and you go down that big hill, and there was a turtle at the very bottom of the hill, and as I was leaving on my way to school, and it was just right walking across my lane. I'm like, all right, little guy, better get out of the way.
This is a riveting movie podcast.
Yeah, we're talking about animals that we've almost hit. Let us know your animals you've almost hit.
Leave comments below.
There's got to be some siblings we're missing. I feel like it.
I mean, there's family members. You have the Hustons.
You got the Gleasons. Did you watch that video I sent you of Donald Gleason accepting a speech or accepting an award for his dad?
No.
Oh, it's great. So at that award show, I think it was like a BAFTA or something. It was a British one. It may be a Brit. Is that an award? And so Donald Gleason was there, and he was nominated for some things, for like The Revenant, and I think maybe Ex Machina or something. But the only things he won was he accepted an award for his father, in which he gave a speech for his father, and then he accepted an award for Tom Hardy. But it wasn't for The Revenant. It was for a completely other movie that Donald Gleason wasn't in with Tom Hardy. So he just, for some reason, asked Donald Gleason to accept it. And his speeches for both were hilarious. Really watch that.
Cool, Donald Gleason.
He's great.
He's underrated.
It's apparently pronounced Donal.
Donald.
Donal. It's like Donald, but without the D, and it's with like a softer O, so like Donal. Like, anyway. This is your Donald Gleason podcast.
Let's rank all the Donalds.
I can't really think of many that are
Glover?
good. Donald Glover is the only good Donald. Donald the Duck isn't good, though. He's like the worst of the Disney characters. So, that's... And we're not going to mention the elephant Donald in the room.
I feel like there's some cartoon with an elephant named Donald. I'm gonna have to find that when I get home. First, I gotta watch the beginning of Monty Python.
Yep.
This
Me
fucking
too.
bananas that you keep saying.
I'm telling you. And I will watch mine, and if you tell me that it's not in yours, I will just like film it with my phone and send it to you.
I'm gonna put it on as soon as I get home.
Yeah, me too.
It's got no dentist.
I'm telling you. It's like the best opening credits ever.
Well, the credits are good. They're crazy, and there's like all the moose stuff. But no.
That's a movie that is like a favorite in my family.
Yeah.
Like in my entire dad's side of the family. Like we used to go to the beach together with like my uncle and cousins and stuff, and we would watch that movie like every year. And I haven't watched that movie in like years now, and I need to watch it again.
I saw it some point this year in theaters at Beckley.
Wow.
And everybody was like quoting it and laughing.
Kelleysville. That's my town. It's me and Kelly.
R. Kelly. Trapped in the Closet.
Nope, not.
Have you ever seen Trapped in the Closet?
No.
You gotta change that.
All I know is R. Kelly he's got a weird sex cult now or something.
Does he?
Yeah, apparently.
All I know about R. Kelly is based off Trapped in the Closet.
All I know is he's been in trouble lately because he's got a weird sex cult. There's a lot of weird sex cults in the entertainment industry. That's what the Illuminati is. It's just a weird sex cult.
But to sum up Trapped in the Closet, it's basically The Room if it were a musical.
That sounds...
Like the best thing ever
Yeah,
made.
maybe. It may just be.
No, it's pretty good. And R. Kelly plays like half the roles, and everybody in the videos are all lip syncing to R. Kelly.
We need to watch Being John Malkovich, starring John Malkovich, and they only say John Malkovich, or they just say Malkovich or something, you know? That's it.
All the Spike Jones movies, except for that commercial he directed for Apple. He's been doing something for Apple lately, I don't know what.
He's doing their big reveal for the next phone. You gonna get it? You gonna get the big new phone? You gonna get the big phone now? The big new phone. This year's big new phone is what it should be called.
I haven't. My iPhone's really outdated.
Mine's not even that outdated, and it's outdated.
Mine's an SE.
Mine's a 6. A 6S. A 6S. Because it's success.
I'll probably get like a 7 used somewhere.
I'll get the 10 in like a year or two, because it was controversial.
Because it blew up.
No.
Right? Wasn't it the one that blew up?
No, that was the Galaxy.
Oh.
The 10 was the one that was like really big, and it has like face recognition, but like it has this weird black bar at the top that like covers up the actual screen, and it was just like ridiculously expensive. It was like $1,000
Yeah, I remember that part.
for like just the base model, and so you could easily spend like $2,000 on it. I'll get it when it's like, I'll get a refurbished one for like $200. I just want a headphone jack would be cool.
Yeah. Which one was the one that did away with the headphone jack?
That was the 8 or 7. Yeah, it was the 7, and then last year it was the 8 and the 10 at the same time. The 8 and the 10.
Oh, they skipped 9?
Yeah, they skipped 9.
They did a Windows?
Yeah, but they called it the X. Well, I mean, like, they still call it the 10, but it's, like, stylized as X. So everyone was calling it the iPhone X, and they're like, it's 10, guys. It's like, that's even more stupid. That's like Battlefield 1, and then Battlefield 5.
Xbox One.
Xbox One, and then...
No, but Microsoft did the same thing with
Yeah.
Windows. Because they skipped when they moved from Windows 8.
I don't know what the
Windows
logic
10.
is. Maybe they just don't like 9s.
I think 9's
Maybe
great.
9's
There's a lot of the great 9 movies out there. Not 9 as in Hitler 9, but 9 as in...
Oh, that actually reminds me. I was going to ask you your thoughts on Neil Blomkamp. Speaking of District 9.
District 9 is a really good, gritty, like, thoughty sci-fi movie. Like, got nominated for Best Picture. Elysium
Matt Damon.
is a less good, but alright sci-fi movie.
What else
like,
has he done, Neil Blomkamp? Is that it?
No, he's got one more movie. It's on Netflix. It's called Chappie.
Oh,
We'll get
yeah,
to
Chappie.
We'll get to Chappie.
Oh,
We'll
it's
get
got like that EDM musician in it.
We'll get to Chappie in just a second. Elysium's okay. I felt about Elysium like a lot of people did about Sicario 2. Like, it's not great, but it's alright. It's a fun summer action movie. You know, it's not as good as District 9.
Yeah.
Chappie.
Yeah, that looked bad.
It's got Die Antwoord in it, which is a
Yeah.
South African.
That's who I was thinking of.
It was, yeah. I haven't seen it. I haven't been able to take that plunge, but everything I've heard is that it's really bad.
It looks bad. Doesn't it have like Dev Patel in it or something?
Yeah, Dev Patel's in it. I think Sigourney Weaver's in it. Hugh Jackman's in it.
Oh man, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. I think he's like balding. What's that movie with Tom Cruise where he's fat? And balding. Tropic Thunder.
Oh.
Yeah, he's wearing like a fat suit and he's bald in the movie and he's just yelling profanities at everyone. It's just weird to hear Tom Cruise, who's like America's sweetheart movie star, going, "Okay, you need to shut the fuck up."
I bet you they cast Hugh Jackman and Chappie after watching Real Steel.
Hugh Jackman had a rough period from like, because he had Wolverine's Origins, then he had Real Steel and Chappie. He had, X-Men Days of Future Past. I haven't watched it yet. I've been meaning to since it came out. Where everyone said it was really good. It was like a return to form, like the first 2 X-Men
Yeah,
movies.
I heard it was alright.
I bought it, and I also just got it for free for syncing up movies anywhere. So, well, everyone said it was really, really good. And then he did Logan, which was a favorite of ours. It was really, really good. But Ethan Hawke didn't like it. He thought it was okay for a superhero movie, but it was just that. Because that's a news story. But, yeah.
They did Les Miserables, and then they cast him in Greatest Showman because they saw him in Les Miserables. Like, hey, let's make him sing again.
Have you ever seen Moulin Rouge?
No.
With Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor?
No.
Where they sing. I think you should watch that next. After you watch the opening credits of Monty Python, that's what you do.
Now I'm gonna watch some Planet Earth after watching them apes and jaguars in 2001. Yeah, they were pretty mean to them TPers or whatever they're called.
I would not want to be on the way back with those college students.
Yeah.
But I kind of
That's like the first thing I said after the movie was over. I was like, I feel bad for that professor who has to explain this to his students now. I bet you it's like primarily people that joined that class because they thought it would be easy and like they get to go watch movies, and it's like a low effort class that they get to do stuff in, so they took it. I hope he makes them watch some like weird stuff.
I hope he makes them watch anime.
I hope he makes them watch even like more boring stuff.
Neon Demon anime.
I want them to watch Phantom Thread, which is a movie I know they won't appreciate at all.
You have a special relationship with that movie.
Do I?
Yeah, I think you're the one that likes it.
Phantom Thread?
Yeah.
I thought you liked it more.
I like it. I don't like it as much as you though.
I don't know. I don't like really have a strong.
It's Kratos. There's a really big burly tattooed guy. Just went by his bike and goes to the little tiny son. So it's Kratos and Atreus.
I don't really know that I feel that strongly about Phantom Thread. Like, I think Daniel Day-Lewis is really, really good in it, really compelling. I think Vicky Krieps is really good in it. And it's like...
Is it your second favorite P.T.
It's got some, like, got some good, like, costume production design. Like, it really goes for that aesthetic. But it is my second favorite P.T. Anderson movie of the two P.T. Anderson movies I've done. They should also watch There Will Be Blood. Because that's, like, long and slow, and they probably won't appreciate it.
No Country for Old Men.
They might enjoy.
I don't know. It's still not that easily. But even the violence in it's not cool actiony. It's like
I wanna
It's grisly.
I wanna watch that with like some semi-normal people and see how they feel about the ending. And they're like, that ending was really unsatisfying and anticlimactic or something like that. Or like I liked it all, but
well, what happened? No, a woman at work. The other day was going on about The Quiet Place, which was a fairly mainstream movie. But she's like, I couldn't hear anything. It was too quiet. There was no sound. I couldn't hear anything. Nobody was talking. Complaining about that. I'm like, it's called The Quiet Place. So
that's gonna be my first movie. Is a movie where all of the dialogue is whispering, but you can't really hear it. So you have to just kind of like figure out what they're saying, and it's gonna win Oscars. It's gonna be my first student film.
It'll be really bad, like every student film.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a good student film. And if anyone says Kevin Smith, no, you're wrong. His movies are still all terrible.
I don't think Whiplash was a student film for Damien Chazelle, because he first shot like a short of it, and that was what became the movie.
That's happened.
But it was like the first thing he did, but I don't think it was while he was in school. I think I'm not even sure that he went to film school, but
I mean, a lot of directors, there's no need to go to film
school. But yeah, so I'm not sure if his short Whiplash was a student film or not. But what was cool about that is the main character in his short is in the actual movie as like the jazz drummer that Miles what's his name? Miles Teller replaces.
Yeah.
And he like actually trained Miles Teller to play the drums.
Miles Teller, nobody's favorite actor.
That was the thing is, I've seen Miles Teller in a few things, and he's never been like an actor I've really thought about at all. And then he's in this movie that I really, really like, and he's good in it. Like he's not the most memorable part of the movie. It's his relationship with J.K. Simmons, and J.K. Simmons specifically. It's like Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men, and that he's the most memorable character in it, and he's not the protagonist. So yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Dano is really noticeable in that movie.
Paul Dano's so weird. How old was he in that movie? That's the weird thing about Paul Dano is he always looks so young. But then I'm like,
I think
but
he's like
is
in
he?
his, I think he's like in his 40s. Let's look that up. I'm curious. I think he's like in his 40s.
So he would have been like late 20s, early 30s or something. And because that's the confusing thing about the movie is the first part he's in it. He's like the oldest son.
Never mind. I'm wrong. He's 34.
34. So he would have been like 20s.
Oh, he was in 12 Years a Slave. I forgot about that. Swiss Army Man.
I think he just made a movie.
Yeah, he did. It's called Wildlife. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal. Speaking of really weird actors, I want the two of them to do a movie together because they're both. No, Paul Dano, Jake Gyllenhaal, Nicolas Cage, right there.
Nicholas Winding Refn directs it.
That's too far. He's in. Yeah, he's in a lot of weird stuff. He's a weird guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he and Jake Gyllenhaal did do a movie together.
What?
They're both in Prisoners.
Oh yeah,
I forgot.
isn't he like the suspect?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was in Little Miss Sunshine with Abigail Breslin back when she was a little girl that people liked. And Steve Carell before he was, I think, even in The Office maybe.
Yeah, Steve Carell did that in like the 40-year version or whatever around the same time.
The 40-Year Virgin's a really dumb movie.
I haven't seen either of them.
I've seen both of them. Little Miss Sunshine's good. 40-Year Virgin's, it's the kind of comedy people like.
Yeah.
And with that really pretentious note, that's all for this episode of Country Roads. Take us to the movies.